I saw everything. I've blocked that side of things out. The sound I still hear.
It could have been his life's biggest tragedy, but instead it shaped him. The horrible accident that left him with unthinkable injuries and created one of Australia's greatest heroes. That person is Brad Ness.
That was our annual dinner. So we'd went over to Rottnest for our annual party.
Midnight struck and they prepared to leave the island.
So my job is to, once everyone's on board, we take the gangplank away. I tell the skipper to go into gear. You got to remember then we didn't have the two ways, it was all done through voice.
It's hard to imagine how they communicated over the noise. That night the skipper thought he heard Brad give him the all clear to depart.
When we pulled away, I knew straight away we had a problem.
That problem was this rope.
The rope was whizzing all over the deck, and of course he was standing in the middle of that rope.
I knew I wasn't going to be able to get that rope off, and I'm actually trying to yell to the skipper to tell him what was going on.
What happened next would define who Brad Ness is for the rest of his life.
In that moment that I turned to try and tell him that the rope was still attached, it caught my foot and tore it off within a second, and yeah, then things changed rapidly.
It was a sense of helplessness because everyone could sort of see for those few seconds what was going on, but no one could do anything about it.
20 kilometres from a hospital and help on the mainland. Brad was in trouble.
I knew if we didn't stop the bleeding, he was going to have real problems.
The people on board saved his life. They were trained in emergency first aid. One was a doctor.
Dave Stevenson and I got hold of his injury and put the bar towel on it, and a guy called Brian Messenger sort of helped run the show from there.
So they're looking for something to gauze up the wound, and I just said take my shirt off, so they took my shirt and used that as a almost like as a plug.
Then I grabbed his shoe, only to find there was a shoe in it and nothing else.
The rescue helicopter was busy, so the skipper headed for the mainland.
Imagine a rope burn, and it wasn't so much the actual pain of it, it was actually the burn sensation that was just pretty much unbearable.
Brad was rushed to Fremantle Hospital. He knew even then it was going to take all his energy to live a normal life.
The other guys that were on board, they didn't know me, and it was just for them. It was, hey, someone's down, let's get them sorted. So very grateful for them and very lucky. And I woke up Monday in the worst pain I can ever imagine. I was sedated again until the Wednesday.
Brad Ness was a prodigy on the football field. He'd played football for Claremont in the Waffle, and his aim was to play for Carlton. He was expected to be the Chris Judd of his time.
Here's a young guy that, very fit young guy that had a horrible accident and could have been sitting in the corner really sucking his thumb wondering why the world's picking on him. Is sitting there trying to work out what he could represent Australia in the Paralympics in the future. I just think that says volumes about the bloke.
The popular footballer spent just 12 days in hospital and had 284 people visit him. But when he left hospital, he had a few battles to conquer.
Do you blame the driver of the boat?
No, not at all. All it takes is a split second for something like that to happen, and yeah, it could have been avoided without a problem there, but I don't blame them at all.
Brad won his compensation battle against Rottnest Ferries. New owner Luke Crispin says a lot has changed in 20 years, especially when it comes to safety.
Safety is very vital. It's our number one priority, so safety first and customer service second.
But the biggest battle for Brad was to come, and it was a personal one.
When I got home, I went to make a sandwich and I couldn't actually get the stuff from the fridge to the bench because I was on crutches, and that's when I realised that life had changed.
And it would change a lot more.
I wouldn't wish it on anyone having to learn how to walk again.
And I know that he had a lot of ups and downs, and we went through a lot of those ups and downs with him, but he never gave up.
Brad went to rehab every day and started training here at Challenge Stadium to keep fit. That's when he got competitive.
Yeah, if I didn't win it, I came second in all the events, so next minute I was going over to the Australian titles for swimming and stuff.
6 weeks after Brad left hospital, he got a phone call. 12-year-old Justin Eveson had lost his leg in a machinery accident.
He made it a part of his life to actually try and help other people.
Brad was the only person Justin would speak to because they shared something in common.
He's been someone I've looked up to since I was a really young age. He was a bit older than me.
Brad took Justin under his wing. 12 months later, Brad was offered a spot on the wheelchair basketball team.
Welcome to the big show. He could go all the way.
It was a challenge. I couldn't push a wheelchair. I'd be pushing down the court and get launched out.
He then introduced Justin to the game. What they didn't know at the time was they were both embarking on a journey that would change and reshape their lives.
It is showtime, baby. Here we go.
Our fates have been intertwined ever since that day in January 1993.
This was the beginning of the road to Paralympic glory. It was months before Brad worked out how to manoeuvre a wheelchair.
It was just a challenge to get better. I wanted to be able to push a wheelchair and make a shot. So we started training hard. I remember having to push around Lake Munga over in Leederville and having no skin left on my hands.
Within a year of the accident, Brad made the state team, the Wheelcats, and in the off-season he'd play overseas in Italy. That's where he met his wife, Giovanna.
Some friends call me and say, come and watch the game. And I actually didn't want to go, but as soon as I see him and I say, oh, who is this?
Within 6 months, Gio gave up her life as a movie photographer to follow Brad and support his drive to succeed. Then, in 1998, he was dealt his first blow.
I ticked every box after my accident, and then to be cut from the Australian team for the World Cup in '98 was my first failure, and that hit home, but gave me more ambition, more drive to make the Olympic team.
A year later, success. Brad made the Olympic team, the Rollers.
With the Sydney Games, I mean, it was in our backyard. Can't be better than that.
They didn't win, but it gave them a taste, and the momentum took off. In 2004, they got a podium finish in Athens. And finally, in 2008, and after 16 years, as captain of the Rollers, country boy Brad Ness led his team to glory.
And Ness, that means the world to them.
Gold in Beijing.
They put that medal around your neck, and you look up, you see your flag going up, and yeah, it's special. It's something I will never forget.
And the medals just kept coming. Gold in the World Cup and silver in London 2012. Life was good and Brad was on a high. But then in January this year, bandits broke into his Italian home, blew up his safe and stole his most prized possessions.
The medals was something special. You can't replace it because it's something that you achieve once in your life.
Those medals are a symbol of a lot of hard work and a lot of sacrifice from a lot of people.
Brad then became the first ever Paralympian to have his medals reissued in Perth.
At 38, Brad's not slowing down at all. This year playing for the Perth Wheelcats in the National League. His goal, 2016 Rio Gold.
Yeah, look, his influence on the team is unbelievable. He's obviously, an inspiration to other people, and I'm proud of that.
I just never give up, and you just live every day as it comes because you're only here for a short time. So, yeah, you just don't let anything hold you back. And if I was to sum it up, I'd just say unreal.